Alright, good morning, people of YouTube. So, we are back again today with probably everybody's least favorite deck in the format. This time we got Security Control. This is updated for the EX BT6 meta. Honestly, Security Control didn't get a lot of great cards in the EX collection, so this is mostly just BT6 meta. We will go over some of the cards that we did get and what you can add with that set. But yeah. This is going to be definitely one of the decks that if you're playing it, or if you're going to be playing at Nats, you'll probably see. And if you're wanting a good deck to close out the format, this is definitely a great deck. And even in February, when Reinforced Memory Boost gets hit to 1, this deck is still very, very viable. And in fact, it just gives you an excuse to play better cards, in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and get right into the list. We'll go ahead and start with the Digitama since that's super easy. I just play 4 copies of Upamon. The rookies that you're swinging, you want to swing with them whenever you're at 3 or lower security anyway, so you might want to just get multiple effects triggering at once. So I do like this, and it always lets you have a yellow egg that you can use for all of your yellow options. So we're going to go into the options before we do anything else, because this is kind of the appeal to the deck. You only play this deck if you want to play a lot of option cards. So we'll start with them. I got 4 copies of Reinforcing Memory Boost, because I'm still allowed to play 4 of it. It's a great card, and when it goes to 1, we'll limit it, but you got to play 4 right now. We got 2 copies of Tactical Retreat. In Security, this card lets you recover, but it also lets you put one of your Digimon into your security from your field. So you have cards like Cordramon, Geogreymon, and you can just trigger their security effects multiple times. So I absolutely love this card. Next, we got 2 copies of Kaidos Breath and 1 copy of Jawalt Schwarmer. We have a couple 7-cost options. It's going to come up later for one of the Digimon that we do play. But Kaidos Breath is just an amazing card. It helps you deal with Craniumon. It helps you deal with just problem cards on the board. And it's just another big bomb that you can play in security. And Jawalt Schwarmer lets you just take care of a bunch of small things. I was testing it at 2, but I kept seeing multiple copies, or just I kept seeing it and holding it, and it wasn't providing me any value. So I did eventually cut this to 1, but yeah, working out pretty well. So we'll just make a stack of big removal cards that trigger in security right here. So we got the 2 Kaidos, we got the 3 copies of Ultimate Flare, we got 4 copies of Iron Fist, and we got 4 copies of Wyvern's Breath. So 4, 8, 10, 13 deletion spells in your security. I do like these ratios. I have considered going up on an Ultimate Flare. When Reinforcing Memory Boost gets hit, I will be cutting one of these, I guess, for another copy of this. That's just an easy inclusion. But yeah, no, all of these cards make it just scary for your opponent to swing at you, and it's kind of the backbone of the deck. So yeah, absolutely like what we're going with there. On to the Tamers. I got 3 copies of Izzy Joe. This is arguably the best tamer in the format, and it lets you just gain 2 memory, and if your Mechanori dies, then you can suspend this and draw a card. So yeah, just gains you a bunch of memory. We got 1 copy of Sora. This lets us play the Kaidos from our hand, and it also lets us gain more memory, because we're in a format where your opponent's going to be hard playing Digimon a lot, especially if you're giving them loads of memory. So if you give them just 7 plus, a shit ton of memory, and they just play a big Digimon, then you're getting extra memory on your turn. Or if they have just a wide board, both of these are triggering, and there are times that you're starting your turn with also a shit ton of memory. So really do like this tamer lineup. If anything, I'd consider going up on a Sora Joe. But we'll move right on along, and now we got the Digimon. So this is how you're winning the game. There are a few Digimon that we play, and we're swinging at security with them, and controlling the board with everything else. So For the rookies, we got 2 copies of Sala and 2 copies of Bushi Agumon. We do play cards like Magnadramon, so we can drop Bushi and swing with Rush, and that's always fun. And Salamon gives us more recovery options, so definitely like the 2 copies of the 2 of these. Next, we got our level 5s. We got 2 copies of Magna Angemon. You know, it's going to let us recover whenever we play it. Pretty much a staple for security control, and it adds value to the deck because you can evolve this into cards like Sakuya and Serafi now. And then the other level 5 that we're playing is a single copy of Mistymon. This card's really nuts, this format. We got Bonds running around, we got Sistermons running around, we got a bunch of things that this card can pop, and this card can pop 2 things. So, absolutely love the value that this card gives to the deck. It's a 7,000 body that we can swing with pretty freely this format. And, yeah, these provide a lot of value for us. On to the level 6s. One of the cards that we got in the EX collection is Serafimon. It is a Wind Digivolving Recover, and it gives all of your security Digimon plus 5,000 whenever this card is suspended. So if your opponent's playing like Bond, and they forget that this is a thing, and they swing at your security, and they're like, ah, cool, well, I hit a Sakuyamon, and they're like, yeah, no, this is a 16,000, buddy, and then they just die. That's pretty funny. Also, it turns your, like, Cordramons, like, they hit this in security, now it's a 10,000 body, and you get to play it and draw 2. I mean, it loses the 5,000 buff once it comes out of security, but still, chances are you're bringing something down with it. And in testing, this card has been doing really well, so I'd consider going up on it. There is another card that we could play that we got. It's the EX Magnadramon. It says when attacking, you can trash a security and, like, unsuspend it. And when attacking, if you're at, like, 3 or lower security, you get to recover, something like that. I felt like this was more immediate value, and I just love what it can do specifically in this format by buffing your security. And I highly recommend that if you haven't tried Serafimon in this deck, that you do. On to the level 6 that everybody knows about that we play. We do play 2 copies of Sakuya. This card shuts out Jessamon, and it makes Gabubon struggle a little bit harder. People say that this card just makes Gabubon unable to play, and I don't think that's necessarily true at all, but this does slow them down, and for that it is definitely worth playing. But this card absolutely destroys Jessamon, and that's always fun. Basically, Jessamon has to be playing Emergency Program Shutdown, and they have to draw it, and they have to be playing the Analog Youth. And that means that they're playing more cards that weaken their consistency in an already inconsistent deck. So the chances are, if you're playing a Jessamon player that is playing like that, they are lowering their own chances of winning rather than you doing anything about it. So Sakuyamon is always going to put on pressure in that matchup just because it can't come up and just take all of your security. And this has become a very, very big staple in this deck. And after testing it, I see why. We got our hard play level 6s now. We got 2 copies of Magnadramon and 1 copy of Beelstarmon. So Magnadramon has been a security control staple for a very long time. Now you just don't play 4 of it. You still play some number. I chose 2 as that number. I really like this card. I don't think I would go up on it any, but I don't think I'd go down either. So it's really comfortable at 2, and you always get value whenever you play cards like this into your security, or any of your security Digimon, and it can help grind your opponent out, which is a lot of times what this deck wants to do. And Beelstar is really kind of nice as a one-of. You can evolve it into Zwart Defeat, and you can, even if you only play 3 7-cost options in the deck, but even if you just have a Casitas in your trash, and you just play this for 11, and then grab the Casitas back and bounce something, that's still valuable. So I do like the Beelstar, but I wouldn't play any more than 1. It's just a neat tech, and it does help you get a Zwart Defeat out of your hand if you're ever in a situation where you have it. And you will be in situations where you have Zort Defeat in your hand, because that's just the nature of this list. Next, we got 2 copies of Mechanorimon. This card provides you a good blocker, and it's a card that you can draw cards off of whenever Izzy Joe dies. So, or when this dies, you get to draw cards off your Izzy Joe, and that's always valuable. And this card shuts out a lot of the most aggressive matchups that you'll see this format. So, Mechanori is just really good, and it forces your opponent to think twice about swinging into your security in situations where they already don't want to, because you play a lot of these cards. So to round out the list, we got our security Digimon. We got 4 copies of Cordramon, 4 copies of Geogreymon, and 3 copies of Zort Defeat. These cards are the cards that just will win you the game out of nowhere. Your opponent thinks that they did really well and they cleared your board, and then they swing at a couple security, and then you just have a board again. So this card deletes something when you play it. This card draws you more cards. And this card's just big. So I like all of these. If anything, I'd like to find room for the other Zort Defeat. However, I don't like having that card brick in my hand. So I only own 2. I've been testing... I've been proxying a 3rd to see if I like it, and I do. But I don't think I like this card enough to play 4 in a list like this. I do think that the Geogreymon and the Cordramon are kind of arguably better. Just because, like, they won't win you the game like this card will if your opponent hits it in security. But if you have this card in your hand, then it doesn't feel bad to play. So I really do like these cards, and they do add a lot of value to this list. So, yeah, that's it for all of the cards that we play. I think I play something like 35 security effects in this list, and that's always fun. 11 of them are Digimon, 4 of them are Tamers. A lot of them are kill spells. Some of them will recover, and that's security control for you. So this is a deck that's just designed to be sort of annoying. It's designed to deal with everything that your opponent has, as they're playing it. And I really, really like this list specifically. I don't really like playing security control at events, just because I'm not a player that likes playing to time, but I do know how to. So, yeah, this is a deck that you need to know at least how to play against and what options that they have available to them at any given point, because this is a deck that you will see playing this format. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.